This is the Wrestling Replay. I'm your host, Cato, here for episode number 3 of the Wrestling Replay. Now, if you are returning, then you already know what to do. But if this is your first time by any chance joining us, then please go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. It costs you nothing but means the world to me. We have a pretty good week of wrestling. Really good week of wrestling, man. But you know how we do? We like to start off with WWE, go through the whole Monday Night Raw, and SmackDown, and see what's going on there. Hope you guys enjoyed your week, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm a little under the weather, so I got my tea with me. A little sniffles, but we'll manage. We'll get through. All right, so let's start off with Monday Night Raw. We had the return of Cody Rhodes to Monday Night Raw. I'll tell you what, since Cody left the WWE, he's managed to up his promo game to a whole new level. I mean, we've seen it in AEW, how good he was with promos, but once again, he kicks off the show. Killer promo. That was awesome. But let's go ahead and jump to some of the matches really quick. We had Sasha Banks and Naomi defeat Rhea, Ripley, and Liv Morgan by pinfall. So the women's tag team champions are still rolling. It looked like Liv and Rhea actually are on the Rocky side of things right now, but Rhea and Liv does have a chance next week to go ahead and challenge for those tag team titles again. So we'll see exactly what will happen if they're able to be victorious this time. I do like the tag team of Liv and Rhea Ripley, but it seems like Liv just cannot find a partner to really mesh with her. I would love for her and Raquel Rodriguez now to actually join forces, but I don't know if that'll happen with Raquel being on SmackDown and Rhea Ripley being on Monday Night Raw. But to me, it's kind of like that line between SmackDown and Raw. It's kind of getting blurry, man. It's kind of like, hey, we can jump brands, we can wrestle on each other's shows. You already seen the unification of the Universal and the WWE Championship. Now we possibly see the unification of the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Well, if they go title for title, then it will definitely be unified, which I've been saying for probably a year now that they need to do, because WWE just do not have really good tag teams right now. I hate to say it. They only got maybe about four good ones on that Raw and SmackDown brand, and you have some really good guys on NXT. So we'll have to see what happened. We got to see The Miz defeat Dominic Mysterio by pinfall. Well, the more important part about that match is we finally got to see Veer make his debut, I guess you would say, to go ahead and attack the Mysterios after the match, which I've been waiting for Veer for a long time. Even when he first debuted with Jinder Mahal, I was like, why aren't they pushing these two younger guys and letting Jinder kind of be their mouthpiece, let Jinder kind of be the manager of these two young guys, and kind of steer their career with Jinder being in the WWE for so long. That would make perfect sense. But nonetheless, we got Veer by himself. He appears to be dominant. He's going to run through the Mysterios with no problem. Only issue I have now is that you got Commander Aziz, you got Veer, and you got Omos. You got a lot of dominant big guys, and it's only really room for one on each show, to me anyway. I know Commander Aziz, he doesn't really do much, but with Omos and Veer, I would like to see these guys on different brands. I wouldn't want to see them in the same brand together. Now, we got to see Bron Breakker and Dolph Ziggler square off for the NXT Championship. I'm not sure exactly why they had this match, the rematch, on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, after Dolph just defeated Bron Breakker, and then Bron comes back to beat Dolph for the NXT Championship. I don't know if that means that Dolph is going to jump back to Monday Night Raw, jump back to SmackDown if he's taking a break, or what have you. It is, if he's injured or what. I haven't really looked too much into it, but it just kind of didn't make sense to me. But I do like Bron Breakker having that title already in his career, in his short, young career. He is a 2-time NXT champion, so that's always a plus. Queen Zelina attacked Carmella. That tag team is done. They were okay to hold that tag team titles until a real tag team came, which I think Sasha Banks and Naomi can be. But I think this will be an interesting little feud for Carmella and Zelina. Now, it'll be more interesting to see where Zelina goes after this feud because she is the winner of the Queen of the Ring. So I would like to see what happens with that. Austin Theory and the Usos defeat RK Bro and Finn Bálor. I think this is kind of setting a tone for those tag team championships being unified. Edge and Damian Priest finally got a new alliance, which is amazing. I hope that they stay together. I hope a third person comes into that faction and really make it a new school version of the Brood. That's going to be amazing. The Street Profits defeat Alpha Academy. Same thing. We already seen it before. Don't really care. Street Profits are really trying to get back into the hunt of the tag team titles. I would love to see the Street Profits and Usos. Those are some of the tag teams where you just put them together and they tear the house down. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, I believe they're going to put on a really good matchup. But I would love to see at some point we get, the New Day tag team back in it with the Street Profits back in it. And who knows, man? Maybe you get some tag teams from NXT to come on over. I think this tag team division has the chance to be really exciting if you kind of cut the handcuffs. Now, I spoke about it. I spoke about it on WrestleMania show. I thought Bobby Lashley versus Omos would turn out to be MVP turning his back on Bobby Lashley to allow Omos to win at WrestleMania. I thought Omos would win at WrestleMania only because he had a great undefeated streak going. Why let it end? This is a chance where you could possibly start a whole new WrestleMania streak 10 years from now. You'd be like, wow, he's undefeated. Now this win or loss at WrestleMania actually means something, even if it's not for the title. But they decided to make that heel turn. Well, I guess it's a heel turn. They decided to make that turn of Bobby Lashley happen on Monday Night Raw instead of doing it at WrestleMania. I don't think we missed Elias returning as Ezekiel. Now, I don't know what Elias did, but oh man, Elias is one of those guys who I thought would have been a great middleweight champion. Someone who was going to hold that middleweight belt, whether it be the United States belt, the Intercontinental belt, for like months at a time. He would have been like a 6, 7, 8, 9 times Intercontinental champion or something like that. But his career did not turn out like I thought it would turn out. So this Ezekiel character, to me, it looks like the perfect character to actually team up with someone like Austin Theory. From what he's wearing, from how he looked, his body type. I mean, it's pretty much exactly what Vince McMahon likes. So we'll have to see what happens going forward with Ezekiel. So far, I'm not a fan of it. I'm going to give it a chance, but right now, I'm absolutely not a fan of what they did with Elias. Now, to go ahead and close off the show, they did have Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Paul Heyman come out to cut an amazing promo. Of course, how Roman Reigns is, of course, the one to destroy Brock Lesnar like he said he would, unify the titles like he said he would, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Monday Night Raw, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, I will say it wasn't as action-packed as typical Monday Night Raws were, but I will say that for the most part, Monday Night Raw was actually entertaining, informative for storylines that's going to happen going forward. So I do like that aspect of it. So I think it's going to really set the tone for a lot of stuff that's going to happen later on in storylines. So I like that. Let's go ahead and move on to SmackDown really quick. We got Ronda Rousey challenging Charlotte Flair to an I Quit match. I don't know. I said on the WrestleMania show, I do not know where Ronda Rousey goes from here. I will assume that she does make Charlotte Flair tap out or say I quit, which would be absolutely horrible. I think that Ronda Rousey, it would be fun to watch Ronda Rousey start from the bottom and like dominate the women leading back up to that match with Charlotte Flair. Kind of like we got to see Bianca Belair dominate some of the women leading back up to that match with Becky Lynch before she recaptured her gold. So I don't know, man. This Backlash WrestleMania event, we're going to have Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, I quit, and I see Ronda Rousey actually capturing the SmackDown Women's Championship. I don't know what that's going to actually mean for the SmackDown Women's division. Now, if I said already, I would really like for the Raw and Women's title to be unified as well. I think that's a way that we can actually get some better matchups in the WWE for all divisions, is to unify those titles that that are split right now into two. It makes no sense anymore. We got to also see Xavier Woods defeat Butch. Now, this rivalry has been going on for a while, especially with Rich Holland delivering that belly to back that ended up causing Big E a broken neck. Thankfully, he's going to be okay, but I'm not too sure about as far as wrestling or in-ring action anymore. But this rivalry has been going on for a while now. I'm not sure exactly how it ends. I don't understand the end point of it. Xavier and Kofi, there's really nothing for them to gain, right? If we win the matchups, okay, is that enough for revenge? Are we going to keep this feud going until Big E is good enough to come back in some capacity, and then that's how we'll wrap it up? But I think you're holding back the good tag team in Sheamus and Rich Holland, who can actually be really good and dominant in this tag team division. The New Day is really good as single and tag team, so I think you're kind of locking them up in a feud that they don't really need to be in. And I like the fact that Butch is finally now actually wrestling on the show, but damn, you started him off with a loss already, so it's kind of like his momentum and everything you got from when he was at NXT carrying over to SmackDown, I feel like you just kind of killed all his momentum from what he does. But I do like the fact that his character is now like kind of a live wire. You never know what he's going to do. You don't know exactly what you're going to get from Butch, and I kind of like that about his character. I'll have to say that much. We also seen Gunther, aka Walter, just pretty much just run through a no-name opponent, well, Joe Alfonso. But exactly, nobody knows Joe. Who's Joe? But he pretty much runs through him and just a squash match, essentially. Just kind of letting it be known that, hey, I'm on the scene now, which I actually like because this is someone who I believe can really run through that SmackDown division. Now, once he gets to the head of the table, that'll be interesting. But Gunther, I really like what he's doing right now. Now, we also got to see Raquel Rodriguez make her SmackDown debut. She did not wrestle, but she did let it be known that she's on SmackDown. Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, their friendship has finally come to an end. This is a chance, I think, for Madcap Moss to really make some noise as a single competitor. I know I would love to team him up with someone because I think that he looks great. I think he got the tools, and I think that tag team division needs help. So, with the men's division being so crowded right now, the singles division, until they decide to really start to put things in order as far as titles goes and contenders going, I think that he would make for an awesome tag team with someone else. So I would love to see what happens after that. We've seen Drew McIntyre defeat Sami Zayn via countout. Sami Zayn pretty much laid out a challenge to anyone to come through that door. After losing to Johnny Knoxville, he was a little embarrassed. So the first person that came through that locker room door, he would actually compete against, he would defeat, and that person happened to be Drew McIntyre, and Sami Zayn happened to really come up on the short end of the stick there. We also see a pre-tape interview with Lacey Evans. That's pretty cool. It looked like it's going to be maybe a 2 or 3 part interview going on with her. She's really talking about her life. It looks like she's making a return as a babyface. I think that's going to be pretty good for the women's division. Her coming back, Bayley coming back. You already got Sasha and Naomi in a tag team, so I think she really helps that division, especially on SmackDown. So it's going to be really stacked when we start talking about the women's division on the SmackDown side if they do not unify the titles. Even if they do, it's a lot of really good women now that actually can make a name for themselves in the singles division, and the champ will actually be solidified by defeating these women. You have to get through the Lacey Evans, the Baileys, the Raquel Rodriguez, the Ronda Rouseys to really prove that you're the champion. So now a long run as a women's champion with some titles are unified, I think it actually means more and brings back more prestige to the women's title, if that makes sense. Because now you have to defeat the best of the best on both rosters, Raw and SmackDown. We've seen Liv Morgan defeat Sasha Bayley in a one-on-one match. She said, hey, I'm going to try to go get some momentum for the tag team match that we're going to have on Monday Night Raw. And she did just that. So it's going to be interesting if they're going to let Liv and Rhea win those titles. What I think is going to happen is that Rhea is going to actually sabotage the chance to actually win the titles and go ahead and turn her back on Liv Morgan, which would suck because I really like the look of that tag team, man. Like they mesh together well as far as their look, their style in the ring. I would love for Rhea just to be with someone just as dominant as her, to really start off as a dominant tag team in that women's division. That was your WWE Raw and SmackDown replay. Now let's go ahead and jump into AEW. I still have that AEW. Let's talk about it. 4 pillars. Who are the 4 pillars of AEW? That will be coming up this week. So stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be a really good episode. It's definitely going to be fun for me. And I also have another. Someone asked me a question. Who are my top 5 active black wrestlers? So I'm going to make a let's talk about it episode with my top 5 active black wrestlers. I think that's going to be pretty fun. But let's go ahead and get into Rampage. We've seen Adam Cole go out and defeat Christian Cage. One thing I can say about Christian Cage, man, when you look at him inside the ring, you can't really tell that he's been wrestling for 20 plus years now. He's just smooth, man. He's a really smooth guy inside the wrestling ring, and I hope he's able to just continue to wrestle on the level that he's wrestling on for at least another 2 or 3 years, because what he does is not only help that younger talent and kind of show like, yo, follow these footsteps and you can be to where I'm at. Your career could be as long as mine is. You could be a great worker inside the ring. That's going to cause for longevity. But also, when they're in the ring with these guys, they can kind of like, pick up on a few pointers of what to do, how to control the crowd, how to control the flow of the matchup. I think all that type of stuff Christian Cage brings to all of his matches, and we see him in some spectacular matches just this past year alone. As far as the Kenny Omega match goes, this Adam Cole match was a decent matchup. It was pretty good. Not a 5-star match, but it was really good and helped set the tone for Adam Page versus Adam Cole for that championship that's going to come up on a rematch. I believe it's going to happen on Rampage. Not this Friday, but the next Friday of Rampage. They're going to go into Texas and have, of course, a Texas death match. That's a match I feel like the AEW guys really love to do. But, yeah, I think that's going to be another really good matchup between the two. And I feel like this might be the match where Adam Cole captures the AEW championship. I know the AEW like to have long title runs, but I feel like, I don't know why, I just have a feeling that Adam Cole is going to really go into this matchup, especially with all the backup that he has, and he's going to actually pull it out somehow. Now, we got to see Samoa Joe make his in-ring debut for AEW. This was a men's tournament qualifier for the Owen Hart tournament. I'm not exactly sure what happens at the end of the tournament. They have a men's tournament and they have a women's tournament. This is one of those tournaments where I wish somehow, some way, WWE, AEW, everyone in the whole wrestling community, all the wrestling promotions could have really came together and put some of the best workers together and really make this tournament meaningful. But, there's issues with Owen Hart, his family, WWE, vice versa. So, this is what we got. So, Samoa Joe takes on Matt Caster of the Acclaimed. This match was pretty much a squash match. The Acclaimed have not been the same for a while. Matt Caster is a really good wrestler to me. He's really good, but Samoa Joe ran through him. Of course, you want to make Samoa Joe look strong, especially with him cutting his promo, talking about he's here for AEW to not just, be an announcer, not to just train the young guys, but he's here to pretty much take the places of the top guys to go win this tournament, to go and win championships. He's coming in not respecting anybody. Now, after the match is something that really caught my attention is the fact that you had Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt pretty much cut a video on screen talking about Samoa Joe. We'll see you next week at New Orleans at Rampage. Now, Jay Lethal was under the tutelage of Samoa Joe back in ROH, so I do like how they're really tying in ROH with AEW. I think that's really cool. I think that's going to actually really help the brand as far as talent that they have coming in, and as far as being able to go back and revisit old rivalries, like relive the old rivalries, especially with them having the library of ROH. So I think that's a really smart idea. I like the fact that we may possibly get a Jay Lethal and a Samoa Joe. happening soon. Now, we also got to see the Captain Shawn Dean defeat Shawn Spears, actually. Believe via countout. Via countout. The Captain Shawn Dean defeated Shawn Spears. He will take on MJF the following week. We got to see the Hardy Boys go against the Butcher and the Blade in a table match. Jeff Hardy and the Hardys, of course, they ran through the Butcher and the Blade. But more importantly, I think what they're trying to do with the Hardy Boys right now, is really just try to get their chemistry back to, what it used to be. They haven't teamed up in a while. So I think they want to get that tag team, the chemistry back to where it needs to be before they go ahead into this match with the Young Bucks, because ultimately I think that's where this whole Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy reuniting is going to lead to. These guys actually going against the Young Bucks and probably a tables, ladders, and chairs, or no holds barred or something like that. So that's going to be really good. But right now I think these guys are really just trying to get their chemistry back and get back to what they used to do. Now, to kick off the Owen Hart Foundation tournament for the women's, their qualifier match, we've seen Julia Hart and Shida go at it one-on-one. Julia Hart came up short. Now, she did send the Varsity Blondes to the back during her matchup, which was kind of, a nice little setup for her to potentially be joining the House of Black. Now, when she first got the mist in the eye, I felt like they were going to slow roll her into joining the House of Black. Typically, every faction, they want to have a dominant woman in there if they can. But AEW kind of stayed away from that. Really, just the Dark Order, the Best Friends, are the only factions that really had women associated with them. So I think the House of Black is going to take Julia Hart under their wing. You're seeing some of the black face paint coming from under her eye patch. So I think that's kind of a hint to, hey, this is what's going to possibly happen going forward. And I think she'll be able to fit. I would love to see her if she put some black streaks in the hair with the mesh with the blonde. I think that would probably really set it off, After the match, also we've seen the return of Serena Deeb. She confronted Shida in a stare down. I would have to believe that Serena Deeb is going to be on the other end of that tournament at some point, because Shida and Serena Deeb still have a rivalry that has started and has been going on for months now. So it's not over. It's not done yet. So I would love to see these guys these women to cap it off inside the Owen Hart tournament. That's going to lead for a great wrestling match. So hopefully they go that route. Now, in the main event, we got to see FTR go against the Young Bucks, defending their AAA Tag Team Championships and their newly won ROH Tag Team Championships. This match was a great match as far as styles clashing together. You get the high-flying style, you get the spotty style of the Young Bucks, and you got that old-school, gritty brawler style of FTR. These tag teams are absolutely amazing. I think that's one thing that AEW does right, is tag team wrestling. Now, FTR has been one of the top tag teams before coming into WWE and after joining AEW. They're still these top guys. That's just what they are. Now, with them being the face and the ROH champions and the AAA champions, I really wonder exactly what's in store for FTR. When I say that, I mean this. These guys went on to defeat the Young Bucks tonight, on Wednesday night, in an amazing matchup. That's a great way to close off any show. That was a pay-per-view quality tag team matchup. It was absolutely amazing. Every time you thought the match was over, it wasn't. So this was awesome between the two. And typically when you got tag teams whose styles really don't mesh together, and they got two real different styles, it doesn't really make for a good matchup. But when you got four guys who understand wrestling, who are great wrestlers in their own right one-on-one, and even better wrestlers as tag team, and understand what to do and understand what's going on, how to pretty much control the crowd, pretty much how to take you up on a roller coaster, bring you down, take you back up. They pretty much control the match, and they pretty much control your emotions throughout the whole matchup, right? When you got guys that's in the ring and that can do that, they are going to be set to put on something absolutely amazing. But with FTR actually getting the win over the Young Bucks, a clean victory, with these guys potentially being a face tag team, they appear to be a face tag team to me now, especially with cutting ties with Tully Blanchard. I feel like these guys could possibly be a Triple Crown champion. Now, if they go on to win an AEW championship, they've won championship at every major promotion. These guys are going to put themselves up there as possibly the number one tag team of this decade. It's hard to really argue with it because of their accolades. Another thing is they won the tag team championships from the Briscoes at the last ROH pay-per-view. With that being said, I believe there was a stipulation. I don't know if I read it correctly, but I believe it read that for whatever reason, the Briscoes could not defend the titles on AEW, or they didn't decide to sign with AEW or something like that. So pretty much they had to drop the titles in order to appear on AEW. I could have messed that all up. I got to go back and double check, but I read it like sometime really early in the week. So when these guys lost the titles to FTR, to me, in my mind, that opened up a big wide door for the Briscoes at any point in time to jump in there and join AEW or sign on with ROH/AEW, however the contracts read out now. But if these guys join that tag team division with AEW, you're looking at probably the best tag team, best promotion, the promotion with the best tag teams possibly ever. Like, these guys will have some of the top tag teams that we can think of. You know what I'm saying? So it's rare that happens. We've seen it with Edge and Christian, the Hardys and the Dudleys, LOD, all kind of coming back to WWE at one generation. But now, this time, this generation, this may be the best tag team lineup in all of pro wrestling. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Briscoes going forward. Now let's go ahead and jump into AEW Rampage. We got to see Daniel Bryanson go against Trent Beretta. Trent Beretta actually put on a decent matchup, man. I'm not gonna lie. When I see Trent Beretta in 101, I look at him so much as a tag team competitor. Just even going all the way back to like ROH times, right? That when he wrestles 101, I never really expect him to win. So going into this matchup, and he's going to get someone like Daniel Bryan, I just never expected him to win. So I kind of think that took down some of the match for me. Like, it kind of turned it down a notch because I didn't think that he was going to actually, had a chance to actually, get the victory. But it was a decent matchup. I don't want to play it off like it was trash or nothing like that. It was a decent matchup. We got to see Swerve Strickland go against QT Marshall, with Swerve getting the win. But he does have an issue, a little problem right now with Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Team Taz. Ironically, it kind of feels like, speaking of Team Taz, it kind of feels like that Hook is like not really a part of Team Taz anymore, man. It's like he's kind of just doing his own thing, and you don't really see these guys together as much anymore as far as those three as a trio. Team Taz, I don't know exactly what they're doing and what they are. I feel like they really have no direction. I feel like if you're a part of Team Taz, you just got two buddies with you. That's about it. I feel like it has done nothing really for anybody's career. Powerhouse Hobbs, he's looked to be in amazing shape. I would love to see him actually really take off in the singles competition, or team him up with Ricky Starks and drop that FTR title. Maybe put the title on Hook, because he seems to have all the momentum right now in Team Taz anyway. But let's go on to the next matchup. Another Owen Hart qualification match for the tournament. It was the women's matchup again. We got to see Red Velvet get the win over Willow Nightingale. I like Willow. She's really dope. I've seen some of her matches prior to tonight in Rampage. Red Velvet has a whole new attitude. She looked like she's turned the corner, made a nice little heel turn, and maybe this will actually, take Red Velvet and her career to the next level in AEW. But it's going to be kind of tough, seeing as though your champion, you got Jade, seeing as though you got Thunder Rosa on the other side, Britt Baker's still right there in the fold. So it's going to be pretty tough. But I think her having this nice little heel persona is going to really help her get to where she needs to be. Now, in the words of Mark Henry, it's time for the main event. We had Jon Moxley go against Pure Champion, always newly crowned Pure Champion, Wheeler Yuta. He's separating himself from the best friends. He went one-on-one and really took Jon Moxley to the limit. This was an absolutely amazing matchup. I wish they would have saved this matchup for the pay-per-view. This match was absolutely amazing. Now, me being me, right? I love when we get free great matchups. But this match is a match I would have loved to see on the pay-per-view to set the tone for how the pay-per-view is going to go about. But the way that Wheeler Yuta took Jon Moxley to the limit tonight, he earned the respect from Daniel Bryan, he earned the respect from William Regal, and we may possibly be seeing their third member into that faction right now under the tutelage of William Regal. And I'm gonna tell you, I seen Wheeler Yuta before. Like, he's really good, right? But this matchup when he fought against Jon Moxley, I'm like, damn, if he's able to go out there and pull these type of matchups off 8 times out of 10, he should possibly be one of the guys challenging for the AEW Championship. Period. He is an absolutely great talent. Now, the blood, I feel like every matchup where they're trying to make it count or make it mean something, someone bleeds. But I'm tell you what, this matchup, even with Yuta being busted wide open, bleeding all over the place, if he didn't bleed at all, it would be just as great. Now, for me, this is the second champion that we've seen come over into AEW. At some point, we're going to see those ROH championships being defended on AEW, right? Now, the one person I really have my eye on is Jonathan Gresham. I had a post about maybe 3 months ago where I would say I would love to see Jonathan Gresham go against Bryan Danielson. I think that would be an absolutely amazing matchup to take place if it actually takes place. We did see at the end of the ROH Supercard pay-per-view, we did see Jay Lethal say that he wants to be the first one to challenge for the ROH Championship. And that's when we first seen Samoa Joe pop up. Now, what's funny is the fact that on AEW, Jay Lethal is someone who's kind of just there. He's just around, right? If he goes on to win the ROH Championship, it has to put him in a whole different light when he's on these AEW shows, because now he's representing that company of ROH. He's a world champion. He needs certain matchups. He needs to have certain wins notched under his belt if he goes on to defeat Jonathan Gresham. Now, if Jonathan Gresham does make his debut before that match takes place to AEW, I think that should be a good standard of how we need to treat the AEW champion, because everyone's going to pay attention to it, right? We've seen Wheeler Yuta. He won the ROH championship, the Pure Championship. He was already a guy that was signed to AEW. We've seen FTR. They won the tag team championships, already a team in AEW. So this will kind of be like the outsider that don't have really any affiliation with AEW currently. So it's going to be interesting to see how they treat him or whoever becomes the world champion. Now, if it's Jay Lethal, that'll be interesting as well, for the fact that he's already been signed with AEW. So are we just having the AEW guys go and take the ROH championships away from those guys who've been there and been defending them this whole time? Or is it a situation that I was trying to explain earlier, where if you was the champ when the company was sold, you couldn't debut or whatever? So I'm going to be keeping my eye on that, and I'm going to actually be doing a little bit more digging and reading, so I can bring that to you guys about what actually takes place if you are the champion on, if you were the champion in ROH going to a whole different promotion or whatever. But that was pretty much the week of wrestling. We had some really amazing matchups. Cody Rhodes is being loved on in AEW. I love the new combination of Edge and Damian Priest being together, I think that's going to make for a really great faction going forward. Too bad Christian's not around. Man, he would have been perfect. But I like that. I like the fact that the titles are being unified. I like that Rumble Reigns saying, hey, let's go unify those tag team titles. I think we're going to get better tag team matches. We got Gunther right now in SmackDown. We got Raquel Rodriguez in SmackDown. Maybe her and Ripley can do what I said, team up, become like the dominant tag team of the women's division, be what Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax should have been, and hold on to those titles for at least like a year or two, something like that. Maybe not two. 2 is a long time. At least a year. I think that's pretty cool. But a lot of exciting things going on the WWE front. And the same thing in AEW. We're going to see a lot of that ROH talent come on over. We're getting some of these young talents. I'm saying, hey, put these guys on TV. Let them win over some fans so, people can actually see them and know who they are. So they can actually cheer for them and possibly help their stock grow. So we got to see some of that happening in AEW. So I feel like this is a really great time for wrestling, man. Storylines are advancing. Really good matches are being put on. Guys are really going out there and actually, it feel like they're caring again about what they're doing versus just going out there and going through the motions. I feel like some matches prior to this, guys were just going out there to just go through the motions. Maybe they weren't happy in their current situation, and maybe they're happier where they're at now. So who knows? That could be, a leading factor to what was going on prior to. But now, I feel like wrestling is just really in a good place, man. So that was it, man. That was everything. Remember, later on this week, we're going to have the Let's Talk About It episode. I'm really excited to have the Let's Talk About It episode with the 4 pillars. I'm actually really excited to give my list of the top 5 black active wrestlers that they made that question very, particular. So, okay. I'm really excited to do that. And, man, yeah, it's great. So, WrestleMania, we got WrestleMania Backlash coming up. We got, you got AEW Double or Nothing coming up. 2 really good pay-per-views that should really set the tone and advance more storylines and end certain storylines that I really don't care for right now anyway. But I'm excited. I would love to hear what you all think. How did you think this week of wrestling was in WWE and in AEW? Let me know what you think. Let me know what's on your mind. Leave a comment down below. Drop a message inside the DM. I'll check it. Make sure you're following at the Wrestling Replay on Instagram. Stay tuned for all our contests and giveaways. I'm trying to do something every single month. We're going to have the Cody Rhodes pop. I didn't forget about it. That's coming up. I really want to do a Razor Ramon giveaway to honor his life and honor some of his fans, to possibly give you guys something back from Razor Ramon memorabilia. I don't know if I said that word right at all. I messed it up. Too many imps. But yeah, definitely, guys, check out the Wrestling Replay, because that is where all of our contests lies on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm trying to become a little bit more active, but Instagram, I feel like it's a lot easier. Maybe because I have so many followers already and I'm talked to so many people already. So maybe that's the situation over there. But let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what feud you would love to see going forward. Like, what rivalry would you love to see happen? Me, personally, I think Cody Rhodes, as far as promo and in-ring matches goes, and Roman Reigns will be something amazing to happen at SummerSlam. If it does not happen at SummerSlam, I would like to see these guys push it back to maybe after Royal Rumble, because if it doesn't happen before then, I would hope that Cody come out there and win the Royal Rumble. If we don't get someone new over on the Raw and SmackDown roster to compete and win that Rumble spot. I would love to see someone like Braun Baker wins that spot if Cody gets his shot before Royal Rumble. So that would be awesome. I would love to see him and Roman Reigns go at it. I don't see anyone taking that title from Roman Reigns for a while, unless it is someone that likes Cody Rhodes. But right now, we can enjoy Cody and Seth Rollins. That looks like it's going to be a feud that's going to be happening and going forward for a while, at least until WrestleMania Backlash. So I think that's going to be a really good feud. I really am interested in what's going to happen with Wheeler Yuta. Like, that match really just put Wheeler in a whole different light in my eyes. I like, whoa. I remember when the last person who did that for me was Darby Allin. I was like, man, this dude don't do nothing but stunts, because the few matches I did see before AEW, it was like some crazy ass matches, right? But I remember I can't remember exactly who he fought, but he put on a great wrestling match. And I was like, oh, my bad. This dude can go. He's the real deal. So I love when guys open my eyes like, hey, you better look at me and pay attention to what they can actually do inside the wrestling ring, and so many factors that they have to themselves, their style, and their character. I love that. But that about does it for me. So I will see you guys here again next week. Same time, same channel. Maybe not the same time, but definitely the same channel on the same day. All right? I'm Cato. I'm signing out. Peace.